Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. With Halloween Kills looming over the horizon, scheduled to be released on October 2020, many fans within the Halloween community are seemingly begging the question as to what is next for Michael Myers. What is the future of the character of Michael Myers following the events of Halloween 2018? And is it possible for us to see Michael Myers actually go back home in the next movie, signifying the long-awaited Michael going home concept in the fact that Michael Myers needs to be fully established in Halloween Kills as this seemingly immovable, unstoppable machine, given the events following Michael almost dying in the house that Laurie Strode had trapped Michael Myers in the idea of giving more validation for Michael Myers in actually feeling like a suitable threat in the next movie, because in Halloween 2018, one could make the objective argument in saying that Michael Myers really wasn't a deranged maniac and killing everyone around him, because we've seen Michael Myers actually display empathy in not killing off the baby, as we've seen Michael Myers kill off an elderly lady inside. We've seen how Michael Myers actually spared all of the crazy inmates that were on the same bus that he used to escape with. So is it more than likely to have this sense of empathy be thrown away in the next movie, in having Michael Myers literally kill everyone he comes across just to simply prove the narrative that he is exactly why people should be fearing Halloween with, in being this mysterious figure that roams the streets looking to take out anyone he comes across, whether that be man, woman, or even child? But this also begs the question, should Michael Myers talk? Should we actually have more character development from Michael Myers, as of course we've seen in Halloween 2018 when Dr. Sartain actually spoke about how he really wants to see what drives Michael Myers to kill, right? He would love to hear Michael Myers speak, because Michael Myers can in fact talk, but he chooses not to. So would it be well established to see Michael Myers actually say something in Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends, in the fact that for the first time in a very long time we would actually hear Michael speak? But the question is, would that demote him as a villain, or would that make him that much more fearful in the fact that we finally get to hear him talk, and the first words out of his mouth for about, 40 plus years is something very sinister, in the idea that he could say something to Laurie right before killing her, or perhaps maybe even if he's about to die himself, he ends up saying something that really sends shivers down the spines of the audiences and even the characters in the movie. I think that with this film, it needs to further establish a solid ground for Michael to walk on, especially going into Halloween Ends, because if Laurie, Karen, and Allison, and anyone else who comes along actually go along ahead to get the upper hand on Michael again, then it would only be best suited if by the end of Halloween Ends, Michael has the upper hand on all of them. Which I do want to point out one thing going into Halloween Kills. If you guys recall the teaser that we've gotten for Halloween Kills with Michael standing outside of the burning building, if you paid close attention to the weapon in Michael's hand, he was actually holding an axe, right? Or at least some people said. But the quote-unquote axe that Michael was actually holding in his right hand in that teaser is something called a fireman's breacher bar. And this is an interesting concept from me, in the fact that I do think that one of the methods in Michael obtaining this fireman's breacher bar is the fact that perhaps maybe some of the firefighters actually came rushing in to put the fire out on the house itself, and Michael could have obtained this weapon from a firefighter who is simply trying to put out the fire at Laurie's house to begin with, which would also make sense in the fact that we get to see water pouring down from the house itself. So with Michael obtaining different weapons and using different objects, I think, to kill, would that not only make him that much more dangerous as a person, given the fact that right now, currently, his butcher knife is actually with Allison, as we've seen by the end of Halloween 2018 when she was clinching onto it. So Michael has no knife, so perhaps maybe this is an opportunity to see Michael use the breacher bar, to see Michael use glass, to see Michael use an axe, to see Michael actually use different objects until eventually he does come across Allison, and somehow, by either her dropping the knife or somehow for him obtaining it, he gets a hold of his knife again and uses that to kill. I think, again, the story needs to be further established in the fact that Michael needs to be looking for Laurie and Allison and Karen, given the fact that by the end of Halloween 2018, that ominous blank stare that he had looking up even as the fire engulfed him was a memorable scene in the idea that this was the very person that struck so much fear in Laurie's heart that it tore apart her marriages, that it tore apart her family, and now the fact that he's out and about again looking for her, I think is a very good plot point in the fact that we have him looking for her rather than her looking for him. But even with Michael having a higher body count in Halloween Kills, it really wouldn't establish the idea that it makes him more scary if it's done in different locations. As an example, with Michael having to be so reserved in stalking and gauging the perfect opportunity and waiting for the perfect moment when his victims are isolated to strike is that much more terrifying rather than having Michael just kill multiple people all at the same time within the same space. If you really stop and think about it, Michael never really killed more than 2 people at the same room or space at the exact same time. He always waited for the perfect opportunity to isolate his victims one by one before taking them out. So in Halloween Kills, that's exactly what Michael needs to do. In the beginning, sure, when he's looking for them, he needs to take out as many people who get in his way as possible, but as soon as he gets to Laurie, Karen, and Allison, what he needs to do to further establish his presence is stalk them, isolate them, and take them down one by one. Now, of course, between Laurie and Karen, a lot of people seem to have different opinions as to who should go first, as many people would like to see Karen die before Laurie, or vice versa, and having Laurie die before Karen. Either way, I strongly feel that by the end of Halloween Ends, we are going to see somewhat of a confrontation between Michael and Allison. If anybody's going to walk away until the end, it's going to be Allison. Unless, of course, Allison somehow sacrifices herself or dies in between, then that's a shock. But until the end, until we get to Halloween Ends, I do think that Allison will be the last one against Michael. I don't see Michael dying in Halloween Kills, as many people have implied that someone else is going to take the mantle of being the next boogeyman. That I strongly disagree with, but we also have to beg the question on what's going to happen with Lindsay and Tommy going into Halloween Kills and then leading us into Halloween Ends. I definitely think that Michael needs to kill them, and I understand that a lot of people are going to beg the question as to why, but they need to further establish Michael's dominance in the idea that now we have 5 characters going into this movie, right? Karen, Allison, Laurie, Tommy, and Lindsay. So with that being said, going into Halloween Ends, I think that out of the 5, there needs to only be 2 left. Now, of course, you guys can comment down below as to which ones should end up being picked off here, but I definitely and strongly believe that Allison needs to be one of those people. As for the other, it could be Laurie, it could be Tommy. Can you imagine going into Halloween Ends if it's Michael versus Laurie and Allison, or Michael versus Allison and Karen, Michael versus Allison or Tommy? You know, picking that apart and allowing Michael to tear through everybody just to get to the same people that caused him this much pain. Of course, even though Michael doesn't display any emotion when he gets hurt, but the pain factor is still there. So of course, I can't see anybody like Michael going through this and not wanting revenge. So even though I do believe that this movie is going to carry a lot of weight going into Halloween Ends, but the one thing that they need to make sure of is kind of dialed down in Halloween Kills going into Halloween Ends is the humor. Now, there is a time and a place for there to be comedy, for there to be jokes made, but I think that one of the major criticisms within Halloween 2018 is that there were too many jokes made at unnecessary times. Now, that needs to be reduced drastically in the fact that Halloween Kills needs to be a very serious movie from start to finish. If they want to include jokes and comedy for comedic relief, they can ultimately do that a few times, but definitely not as much as how we've seen in Halloween 2018, because it really deflated the moments that caused tension and desperation for our characters in the fact that you're immersed in the story one moment and then the next you're taken out by a joke or two. So in the end, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below about your overall expectations and when looking at the overall characters and looking at the overall presentation value, what are your thoughts as to what they could do? What would you do if you were directing this film? And again, I do want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If of course you guys are new, then I do encourage you guys to smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload. Also, if you guys are stoked, ready, and excited for Halloween Kills, then make sure to give this video a big thumbs up by slapping that like button down below. Check out our official Halloween playlist located down in the description box below, to where there you guys will find updates, news videos, and discussional videos such as this to get your mind flowing. So again, thank you all so much for your time. Thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.